자유천이고 숭고한 하늘 빛깔 순결의 백합 상하고 빛난 정신 이어가도다 고대양 육대주 천주까지도 억만세태 평성대 길이 빛내세 평화천이고 순정의 기쁨이 떠 천년한 날에 영생의 이상향을 나타내도다 고대양 육대주 천주까지도 억만세태 평성대 길이 빛내세 통일천이고 사계절 휘날리는 천일국 깃발 천진 참부모님 소망하도다 고대양 육대주 천주까지도 억만세태 평성대 길이 빛내세 행복천이고
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Heavenly Parents. Good morning, true parents. We now begin our morning devotion. We will now welcome everybody for this morning devotion. I am Dr. Venus Agustin, your host, the MC for today's Handoke. So we will now call on our national leader to lead us in the Kyungbei and Family Pledge.
Let's begin. Today is the 6th day of the 4th month in the 9th year of Cheonilguk, May 17, 2021. To begin our day, let's offer our respect and gratitude to our Heavenly Parent and true parents of heaven, earth, and all humankind. 천진 참부모님께 경배. 바로 let us recite 가정맹세.
가정맹세 1. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조 이상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 충신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 황족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조 이상인 천주 대가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정 문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 천일국 시대를 맞이하여 절대신앙, 절대사랑, 절대복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상천국과 천상천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Morning, sir. Please unmute po.
Okay, sorry. The opening prayer will be led to us by a sub-name John Harold Mirabete from San Pablo. Let's welcome John Harold.
Good morning, everyone, brothers and sisters. Please close your eyes and please join me in my prayer. Good morning to your most loving Heavenly Parents and victorious two parents of heaven and humankind. First and foremost, Heavenly Parents, we would like to say thank you for this very wonderful day that you've given to us, for the blessings that we receive from you, especially for this morning, Hinduke Heavenly Parents. We are very grateful to be part of this Zoom online Hinduke, to share our hearts together and to become one with our Heavenly Parents and our beloved true parents. We would like to pray, God, that we can always offer our sincere hearts towards you. Whatever difficulties and strugglings that we are going through, we believe that because of our beloved true parents, we can overcome everything. Let us liberate ourselves and invite your spirit for everyone, Heavenly Parents. Heavenly Parents, please always help us to really develop and practice love instead of anger, hate or fear, and let's repent in order to welcome in our heart your truth. Because this truth that had moved in our hearts and has inspired us to continue for your will until we become one with your heart, Heavenly Parents. Thank you for everyone, especially who joining in this Hunduke, and guide each one of us to really feel this Hunduke even if it's online, Heavenly Parent. Again, Heavenly Parent, we ask that you'll strengthen us, restore us, and inspire us with your love. God and Heavenly Parents, hope that would you fill us with your peace so that as we journey onwards, we would pour out your love and grace to others. Heavenly Parents, thank you so much for everything, for all the blessings that we receive from you day by day, Heavenly Parent. You didn't give up on us, Heavenly Parent. Even sometimes, Heavenly Parent, we did a lot of mistakes, Heavenly Parent, but still, you're always forgiving us, Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for all your care and protection for us, Heavenly Parent. We invited your divine presence to be with us for this morning, Hunduke, Heavenly Parent. And I hope that you will shower upon us a blessing, Heavenly Parent, each one of us here, Heavenly Parent. Thank you so much, Heavenly Parent, for everything. And I'd like to offer this prayer to you in behalf of my precious brothers and sisters, my leaders, In victorious parents' name, the living Christ in the Sarah, Jew.
Jew. Thank you so much, Sab Jan Harold, for the sincere prayer to begin this Hondoke. My dear brothers and sisters, let's greet, of course, everyone. Maybe you can tap shoulders or beside you. Do not shake hands because social distancing. But anyway, good morning, everybody. So let's have our individual prayer together. Aju. Aju. Good morning, heavenly parents and true parents. Good morning, everybody from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Of course, good morning to our national leader, Reverend Leo Angelo Halog, to our Vice President in Asia Pacific, our Dr. Julius Malikdem, and to Ronnie Sudusta, to all the na-mention ko na, brothers and sisters. Good morning. So our Hondoke reading for today, let us welcome one of our students of one-year program, graduating students of IPLC Senior High School, Sister Michelle Bachan Sheila.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So, our reading for today came from our Mother of Peace, a memoir by Hak Jahan Moon. Chapter 1, My Cherished Lifelong Wish. Within moments, the demonstrators' ears were assaulted by the sound of whistles and boots. With batons and rifles, dozens of policemen converged upon the market. They mercilessly struck everyone in their path, right and left. People were beaten to the ground, blooded. The policeman did not distinguish between man or woman, young or old. Desperate to protect her daughter, this mother had no choice but to hold back her tears and retreat. Although she was filled with the resolve to stand to the last, she knew that God's wish is for human fellowship, and that bloodshed would only increase the burden of pain in God's heart. And there was something else. Something told this mother that it was not yet time for her nation to rise. It told her that in the future of Korea, a woman would be born with an unprecedented destiny, a woman who would break a woman who would break the mold of this fallen world with this light of hope in her heart. She endured the humiliation of that afternoon. In accordance with God's providence and the absolute faith and love of Christian believers since biblical times, what that woman conceived in faith entered the world 24 years later. To her lineage, the only begotten daughter of God was born, as the one called to fulfill that woman's dreams. Anjo was my birthplace. It was an epicenter of Korean patriotism, and it is no coincidence that it was an area in which Christianity was first introduced to Korea. That woman was my grandmother, Ju Won-mu, and she continued her support of the independence movement, and she engaged her daughter, my mother, and me in her activities. I was just 2 years old when my nation's history took its next turn, liberation from Japanese occupation. On that day, August 15, 1945, my grandmother, Ju Won-mu again, had a child on her back while she shouted, "Manse!" But this time, the child was me. And this time, my grandmother was shouting and waving our national flag with joy and delight for our nation's newfound freedom. God chose our family, a family of 3 generations of only daughters. Ju Won-mu, my grandmother, and a woman who committed her heart to the independence movement, was an only daughter. Hong Se-ni, my mother, a woman who single-mindedly committed her flesh and blood to fulfill her faith that she would meet Christ as his second advent, was her only daughter. I was her only child, the only daughter of the 3rd generation. Among the oppressed people of the Korean Peninsula, God's only begotten daughter was born. As I write these words in 2019, the centennial of the March 1st independence movement, I am pursuing my perverse dream, the dream of the ages, the completion of God's providence of salvation throughout the earth. Thank you, Mother. Please take care of everything. Moon, moon, bright moon, the moon with which Lee Tae-bik used to play. Far away on that moon, there is a cinnamon tree. I cut it down with a jade axe and trimmed with a gold axe to build a small cottage where I attend my mother and father. I want to live with them forever. I want to live with them forever. While laden with sadness, this traditional Korean song also stirs and uplifts the heart. The wish to the wish to live forever with one's mother and father conveys the heart of filial piety. We are orphans, far from the heavenly parent whom we have lost, and we have to find our true parents and our original homeland. Nothing leads to greater happiness than being able to attend the beloved parents for whom we long, be it in a palace or a small hut. Everything and everyone loves the sun. Only with the sun can life flourish. The moon, on the other hand, bestows something else. The sun represents splendor, the moon tranquility. When people are far from home, they tend to think about their hometown and long for their parents while looking at the moon, not at the sun. I fond memories of gazing at the moon together with my husband. We watched it with many members during the Korean Chuseok Harvest Festival and at the first full moon of the new year. Nonetheless, those moments were rare. My husband and I could not immerse ourselves in such tranquility. After this work is done, my husband would always say, and so would I, after this work is finished and we have a bit of free time, we'll be able to take a break. Over our years of ministry, one would think there would have been brief moments to relax after completing an urgent task. But for us, free time never materialized. Spurred on by the thought of my grandmother, Jew crying, Manse, for the independence and salvation of our nation, I burn with a youthful passion for saving humanity and building a peaceful world. I have always held high the banner of peace, inheriting the March 1st independence movement's noble spirit of nonviolence and self-determination. Because I live with this sense of urgency, I found myself accomplishing what I would never have imagined possible. Throughout my life, I have done my utmost to fulfill all the tasks that have come to me. I have striven to dedicate myself to living for the sake of others, with one heart and one will. I have never given my body the rest it needs. Many were the times I need neglected to eat or sleep. My husband, Ju-
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michelle. Now, let's welcome Cyrus Tomanda, the regional instructor of Davao Region, for the 10 points of gratitude.
Yes, good morning to our most gracious Father, to your parents. Good morning to all the leaders and also my brothers and sisters. Good morning. These are my 10 points of gratitude. Number one is I'm very grateful to our Heavenly Father. Of course, Heavenly Father gives everything to us, especially to me. I am really grateful to Heavenly Father because though I'm not that good enough, but still Heavenly Father continuously pushing me towards my limit day by day. Next, number two is I'm so grateful to our true parents. True parents introduce us the divine principle, and divine principle really gives meaning to my life. So before I don't know what's the meaning of my life, but after learning divine principle, you know, it gives me direction what I needs to do. That's why I am really grateful to true parents and also his hard works and efforts in order for us to be safe. Next, number three, I am grateful to our leaders of the unification movement. You know, they are the direct they are direct supporting our true parents from our international leaders, also on our local leaders. I can really see their hard works day by day, though we have this kind of pandemic, but still they are doing their efforts, their sacrifices for us to keep in touch. And next, number four is I'm grateful to our leaders in the Philippines, especially maybe our country is still the same. You know, our president in the Philippines really gives a lot of effort in order for the Philippines to become developed. And as we all know, like if Philippines will be developed, we can do our providence more conveniently. We can do it. And next, I am grateful to all of our blessed family. That is number five, because being a blessed family is also my goal, and I feel like they already reached my goal. So I'm really looking them up. Like hopefully I can also achieve it one day. become a blessed family. Also, through efforts, being a blessed family is not that easy to reach. Uh, I need a lot of efforts to put in my life during these days. Next, number 6 is I'm so grateful to my spiritual family. My spiritual family is the one who invited me in the movement in the church, and I'm so grateful with them because I did able to find true parents in my life. Next, number 7 is I'm grateful to my physical family, to my parents. They are the one who supported me a lot in all my decisions. They are the one who love me unconditionally. Like, even though they don't have nothing, but just to support in my daily life, that is very unconditional love. Next, number 8 is I'm grateful to all my brothers and sisters, especially to those brothers and sisters who are still doing mission, Tong Ilmodo or any frontline mission. Their efforts and hard work cannot be paid. I also undergone that kind of situations, and I know their hearts, that longing hearts for to parents. And next, I'm so grateful. It is number 9. I'm so grateful to our Tong Ilmodo families, like, and they are the one who educate in IPLC, and they are the one who trained me how to become a filial sons and daughters of true parents. That is not easy to achieve, but I am still in the process to become one, and also to become a blessed family someday under Ilmodo family. Of course, I'm so grateful to all my precious students here in Tong Ilmodo Davnor, Tong Ilmodo Gym Davnor. These days, I am teaching like around 20 students in our gym, and I'm so grateful with them because as I see them growing day by day, makes me so happy because I practice heart of being a parents. I see them like my children also, my students, and yeah, they are now growing. And also I'm also conducted like yung Ilmodo philosophy, and trying to convince them to also introduce our true parents to them in their life. So yeah, hopefully someday it will be able to become filial sons and daughters of our heavenly parents and true parents. And that will be all. Thank you so much for all your efforts, my brothers and sisters. Have a good.
Thank you so much, Sabunim Cyrus Tumanda, for the information of everybody. Cyrus Tumanda is a graduate by PLC, and after that he went there in his hometown and then pioneer to start a commercial Tong Ilmodo Dojang. Now they are multiplying, they're expanding. They have now, I think, 2 commercial Dojang, and they are also connected to our regional centers in some way, and they're doing their best. Thank you so much, Sabunim Cyrus Tumanda, for your 10 points of gratitude. Now, let us now, of course, give a virtual applause sa kanyang 10 points of gratitude. Thank you so much. An offering song, next offering song to be rendered to us by Gretel Pinoso. Gretel Pinoso is from Zamboanga Peninsula.
Tomorrow morning, if you wake up and the sun does not appear, I will be here. If in the dark you sat all alone, hold my hand and have no fear. 'Cause I will be here. I will be here when you feel like being quiet, when you need to speak your mind. I will listen and I will be here when the laughter turns to crying, through the winning, losing, and trying. We'll be together, 'cause I will be here. Tomorrow morning, if you wake up and the future is unclear, I will be here. Sure, seasons are made for change. Our lifetimes are made for years. So I will be here. I will be here. You can cry on my shoulder when the mirror tells us we're older. I will hold you and I will be here to watch you grow and tell the things you told me. I will be here. I will be true to the promise I have made to you and to the one who gave you to me. For sure, seasons are made for change. Her lifetimes are made for years. So I will be here. We'll be together, 'cause I will be here.
Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. Wow, that's amazing voice. Bigyan naman natin sila ng virtual applause. Thank you. Now, moving on, let's now start ourselves to prepare to receive God's words. Brothers and sisters from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, let us welcome our national leader, Reverend Leo Angelo Halong, for his message.
Sorry. I would like to greet our Heavenly Parent and True Parent. Good morning. Thank you very much to our Dr. Venus for being our host today. This is really a special day. And also to our beloved brothers and sisters from Tong Ilmudo, our Sabunims, who shared their 10 points of appreciation. And also for the wonderful song that was shared to us by our sister Michelle. Thank you very much for that inspiring song. And so I would like to welcome again all our leaders, all our blessed families and brothers and sisters. Good morning po sa inyong lahat. Today is our 99th day of our morning devotion. So tomorrow we are going to complete 100 days of our national morning devotion. Thank you very much for joining every day. Yesterday we had the Songwa ceremony of our Ambassador for Peace, very close to us, Attorney Vincilito Andanar. Some of you attended. Actually, that was really very good. And former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo finished the event. So nanood siya until the very end. Actually, we couldn't invite her sa mga activities natin, but during the Songwa, she attended, and actually it was really very good education. So we are really grateful to all our leaders and brothers and sisters. We could organize, we could meet the family, the children of Attorney Andanar, and then they were really, really inspired, and then they were really, really grateful to us. Yeah, because after Attorney Andanar passed away, their tradition sa mga Muslim, bago lumubog ang araw, nililibing na po. So they don't have chance to, meet together with their relatives. But because of the Songwa ceremony we organized, then they could meet their relatives, and really they were really grateful to all of us. So, yun po. And thank you for inviting then mga regional leaders natin. Some of their VIPs also participated, and brothers and sisters joined together. So maraming salamat po. So this morning I would like to share with you from the autobiography of our true father. The title is Happiness is a Life Lived for Others. So let's study together. True Father said, all created beings are created for one another. Children are born from flesh and blood of their parents. Without parents, there would be no children. Yet people in this world shout out for individualism, as though they came into this world on their own. Only a person who receives no help whatsoever from anyone at all would have the right to speak of individualism. There's nothing in this world that comes into being for its own sake alone. All created beings are created for one another. I exist for you, and you exist for me. So many times True Father is talking about this topic. So all created beings are created for one another. So there shouldn't be the mindset of, I came, because no one came to this world alone, right? But as when children are young, they always look for their parents outside. But as they grow up, they started to meet their friends, and then a lot of instances and situations happened. They started to live on their own, because also of some practices that they are practicing in other nations. When they reach 18 years old, then they live on their own, right? And then only maybe once a year they can meet their parents, or even some are not even meeting their parents anymore. So everyone is really connected between and among each other, right? So our existence is actually for other people. So we are created for one another. So we cannot live on our own. So this is the principle that God used in creating human beings, right? So all of us are interconnected. So we are created for one another. Father said, selfishness is a life of self-destruction. So there is no one as foolish as the selfish person who lives only for his or her own sake. It may appear that a selfish life benefits the individual, but ultimately it is a life of self-destruction. The individual must live for the family for the people for the world, and the world for God. So this is important point. So many people, they want to be independent. Gusto may mga tao na ayaw nila yung pinapakialaman sila, ayaw nila yung may nagsasabi sa kanila. We are thinking that, just living our own life, doing anything that we wanted is, is best life. But actually, it's not. Father saying here, it may appear that a selfish life benefits the individual, but ultimately, it is a life of self-destruction. There are people, they just wanted to be isolated. They just want to do anything they want, just on their own. Even they don't want to be, ayaw nila yung pinapakailaman sila, even ng mga magulang nila, mga kapatid nila. Then, they feel that they want to really be free, and they want to do anything, right? They wanted, just on their own. So, Father said, this kind of life may appear that, it is benefiting you. Anyway, I can do anything, so I can decide. But actually, it's not. Father said, ultimately, this kind of life, will be a self-destruction. That's why human beings, right? Many people like that, they live like that. Iniwanan nilang magulang nila, they just try to, but, after some time, they come back home. And then they realize, what the life they are living is like, they're just destroying themselves, right? As fallen human beings. We cannot control our desires. Most of the time, fallen human beings do, evil things more than good things, right? So when they just live on their own and no one is guiding them, then they're just destroying themselves. This is the reality, right? That's why selfishness, Father said, is a life of self-destruction. Life of self-destruction. So that's why many young people today, they hated their parents, their relatives. They just want to live on their own. But in the end, they destroy their life, right? This is the reality. So Father said, we or the individual must live for the family for the people for the world, and the world for God. So this is how God created. We as individual, we need to live for the sake of our family, and then for the sake of the people, bigger community, and then our nation, the world, and for Heavenly Parent. This is how God created. So anyone who goes against this principle will surely perish. Anyone who goes against this principle, God created based on the principle, very clear principle, right? That's why, every time Dr. Kittles is giving lecture, he always emphasizes Father's genius. He discovered this, right? The principle that God, used. Actually, there are some, mga matatalino, mga genius then in the past. Sina Einstein, ito mga to, they have something, but not so clear as, true parents, reveal everything. The principle that God is embodying, right? The principle that God used in creating. So true Father is genius. As we learn the divine principle, we become genius, right? We started to know and understand the principle. So if we just follow the principle, we will surely live good life, right? We will surely prosper. We will surely fulfill our goal. So kanina, sinishare ng ating mga brothers, the Sabunims, yung goal din nila to build ideal family, right? This is really, the only way is to go through the principle. Once we follow, for sure, everything we dream to achieve will surely be achieved and accomplished. Aju? So this is really amazing. To parents, we could discover also, we could learn this principle of life, the principle that God created and used to create everything. Aju? This is really, really amazing. So anyone who goes against this will surely perish, will decline, will never prosper. So Father said, live a life that casts no shadows. So all the schools I have founded have three mottos. The first is, live a life that casts no shadows, as if you were under the sun at high noon. A life without shadows is a life with a clear conscience. When we finish our life here on earth and go to the spirit world, our entire life will unfold before us, as though it were being played back on a videotape. Whether we go to heaven or to hell is determined by how we live. So we need to live spotlessly clean lives, casting not even the smallest shadow. So this is really important. So Father said, they establish a school, our true parents, they establish schools. And then they establish schools based on these three mottos. Number one is, live a life that casts no shadows, as if you were under the sun at high noon. So when the sun is in the center, right, there's no shadow. You cannot see any shadow. So all human beings, all of us, need to live such a life. So a life without shadows is a life with a clear conscience. Father said, we're not hiding anything, right? So, especially during this time, the settlement period, settlement of Channel Group. So ito na po yung time, actually this time you cannot hide anything. And then this is the time that when you do good, immediately, karma comes immediately this time. If you do something good, then immediately that goodness will come back to you. If you do something bad, immediately that will, dati pag may ginawa kang hindi maganda, it's like, okay, kaya nga may kasabihan tayo dati, masamang damo, mahirap mamatay. Kala natin yung gumagawa ng hindi maganda dati, they are prospering. It seems like that in the beginning. Dati yon, when we are still living in the, era before the coming of heaven. But now in the era of Channel Book, everything is very clear. If you do something good, you will receive something good. If you do something bad, for sure, not anymore just in your descendants. Ang magsasuffer, sabi natin dati, hindi na natin ma-experience, we are sacrificing only for our descendants, but not anymore. Because of the era that has brought about by true parents. Ngayon, if you do something good, you can live well. Even in our generation now. So, the fruit of what you are doing, you can receive that, hindi lang yung descendants mo. This is now the life where we are living in. Kaya nga, this time you cannot hide anything. If you are doing, kaya nga ngayon, not anymore the people who are doing bad will progress. People who are doing good. Right? That's why now, nakita natin how much the providence is advancing. Last Rally of Hope, we could see righteous people came. From America, many of them. They're speaking about the amazing work of true parents. Right? So, this is now really different time. Kaya baguhin na natin yung mindset talaga natin ngayon. So, let's do goodness continuously. Let's really become a model. Right? And then naturally, we will prosper. Kaju, this is really now. So, this is the first motto Father said. So, how can we practice this in our life? Right? So, we are all reflecting about this. How to really live such a life. Kaya nga ngayon, how to really live a life of goodness every day. Really, with a clear conscience. Ito talaga yung kan natin. We need to strive to really become a good people. Right? Become a model in our society. Naturally, everything will change. In short time. Ibang era na talaga tayo. 9th year already. Kingdom of Heaven started 9 years ago. Kaya nga ngayon lahat ng fortune nandito na sa atin, already given to us. It's just up to us how we are really living our life, how we think, how we act, how we deal with people. This, ito na yung pinakakon ngayon, not anymore, everything is given. The entire spiritual world, lahat na, mga ancestors natin, even evil spirits, Father said, they are already here on earth working, supporting us. So it's just already up to us how we think, how we act, how we speak, how we deal with people, how we, live our everyday life. Ito na yung basis, actually. So, sabi ni Father, when we go to the spiritual world, ipi-play daw yung buhay natin. Like a videotape para tayong nanunood. And then, whether you go to heaven or hell, it's not God will decide. It's you, based on how you live your life. So, we need to live spotlessly clean lives, Father said, casting not even the smallest shadow. Kaya nga, also do not, look back with all the things that, our lapses, our mistakes, the sins that we have committed. Let's start from now. From here and then look forward, right? Do not bring past back anymore, right? So let's, live by this time and look forward. Aju, and then from this time, live really spotlessly clean lives, Father said. Aju, this is really, really important. So this is the first thing, Father said. And then second motto, Father said, live shedding sweat for earth, tears for humanity, and blood for heaven. Oh, sorry. So the second motto, Father said, is to live shedding sweat for earth, tears for humanity, and blood for heaven. There are no lies in the blood, sweat, and tears that people shed. There's only truth. There is no meaning, however, in the blood, sweat, and tears that a person sheds for his own sake. This great investment must be shed for the sake of others. So this is really, really important. So this is the second one, Father said. Need to live shedding sweat for earth, tears for humanity, and blood for heaven. So Father shown us how they live their life, right? Of, sacrifice, living for others, and then really loving other people, and really working very hard. So this kind of motto that, Father, we need to inherit, right, in our life. We need to really live shedding sweat for earth, and then tears for humanity and blood for heaven. We need to really live sacrificing for others, working hard and really loving all humanity. So, however, Father said, there is no meaning in the blood, sweat, and tears that a person sheds for his own sake. So, again, the most important point is we are doing this, for the sake of others, not only for our own self. Because Father said, if we, just working hard, sacrificing only for our own self, then that has no meaning, Father said. So, we sacrifice for others, we work hard for others, then that is a truly meaningful life. Aju? So this is really, really important. So Father said, this great investment must be shed for the sake of others. So this is the second motto Father is teaching us. And then the final motto, Father said, there is only one God, and all human beings are brothers and sisters. So the final motto is one family under God. There's only one God, and all human beings are brothers and sisters. Differences of language, race, and culture account for only 0.1%. As human beings, we are 99.9% the same. So, not only our brothers and sisters in our own family. That is just only, the starting point. But actually, based on that, we have to go out, and embrace our brothers and sisters. Because we are all brothers and sisters. We are only one family. How we love, sometimes really, we just love our own family. Many people practice like this. They love so much their parents, their children, brothers and sisters, but only that love is only isolated in their own family. But that family should open up and embrace the bigger community, the society, the nation, and the world, because we are all brothers and sisters, right? And then we only have one eternal parent. We have our heavenly parent. When we go to the spiritual world, we can see clearly, right? So these three mottos that a Father, their basis when they establish educational institutions. These are really, really important. So Father was sharing here. So Father said they're worried how to raise up leaders who will lead them in the future. Father said there are 14 island countries in the South Pacific. When I visited the Marshall Islands, I asked its president, this is a beautiful land, but it must still be difficult to lead this country, isn't it? The president sighed and replied, our population is just 60,000 and the land is just 2 meters, 78 inches above sea level on average. So a wave just 1 meter, 39 inches high can flood much of the country. Our most serious problem, though, is education. Children of rich families go to America or Europe to be educated and do not return. Children of poor families have no schools from which to receive a good education. So even the brightest child cannot be trained properly for leadership. The concern for an island country such as ours is that we are unable to raise up leaders who will lead us in the future. So, many island nations in Oceania, just small nations. These are their challenges there. Of course, as island nation also they have some external challenges, but ultimately, what is their most serious problem? So like what the president was sharing here to True Father, as how much True Father invested in island nations also. So dito the most serious problem not only that when the sea level got high, many parts were flooded. That's one, but most serious sabi dito is the problem of education. We don't have enough to educate the children there, and then the children, mga anak ng mga mayayaman, they go to America and Europe and then hindi na bumabalik. So their problem is who will going to lead them in the future. So not only I think Marshall Island, many island nations, they have this kind of problem. That's why True Father established a school, you know, in I think Hawaii, and then children, students of the Pacific can go there to study, right? And then even through parents provided, you know, airfare, scholarships for them to raise them up, so that once they completed their education, they need to go to their country, and you know, they will become the future that can lead these island nations. So this is really serious. Many island nations, especially in Oceania, we are just one region, right? Now maybe later on also these nations, Marshall Island, of course we have one Japanese, I think Japanese national leader doon. So but still some island nations they don't have. Still these are really, you know, like pioneering places, but there are big potentials to these nations to become channel group. And then, you know, the characteristics of people there, as they are living in, you know, not so much secular, unlike in the developed nations. That's why, yeah, it's good actually for our brothers and sisters who wants to become missionaries. You can actually go to these island nations. If you know, these are really amazing experiences. So this is the worry of the president there. So True Father invested and really put up a school to educate the future of these nations. So Father is saying living for the sake of others requires sacrifices from time to time. So after hearing this lament, I established the High School of the Pacific in Kona, Hawaii, for the sake of the children of these island countries. This school provides secondary education to children from countries throughout the Pacific and helps them apply to college. We provide round-trip airfare to Hawaii, tuition, board, and even computers so that they can receive the best education. We attach just one condition to receive this education. Once they finish, they must return to their countries and work in the service of their nation and its people. Living for the sake of others requires sacrifices from time to time. Some years ago, one of our church missionaries was touring South America when the place he was visiting was hit by a major earthquake. His wife came running to me with her face as white as a sheet. So, and then Father our true parents established a school in Hawaii to educate them. Purposely, you know, true parents provided everything so that later on, you know, also that's their preparation for college. And then later on, the main purpose is for them to go back to their nation. Yeah, so really, you know, our true parents really are solving all the problems, you know, of the world. So Father is telling us here that living for the sake of others requires sacrifices from time to time, continuous sacrifice. It's not just, you know, certain period of time. You know, living for the sake of others requires, you know, continuous, unending sacrifice, continuous, this kind of heart. Yeah, so really our true parents invested so much in the world. So also Father was sharing, this one is another one that happens in major earthquake happened in South America. So let's continue this. So Father said, we need to worry for other people more than ourselves. So that time, the wife of the missionary came to Father. His wife came running to me with her face as white as a sheet. So because of the major earthquake happened, this wife so worried about her husband. So, and then she came to Father. Pumunta siya kay Father. So anong sinabi niya kay Father? So what should I do? Sabi niya kay Father. So she asked with tears in her eyes. So Father said, this woman said, I'm so worried. I don't know what to do. You might be surprised by my response. Instead of patting her on the shoulder and comforting her, I shouted at her, are you worried about your husband, or are you worried about how many lives he may be able to save in that disaster area? So she was so worried about the husband, but her husband went there as missionary. So that's why when she came to Father and then asking Father what she will do. So instead of comforting her, Father shouted at her, right? So because, you know, this wife is like so much worried about her husband. But first she should be worried about, you know, how many people her husband can, you know, can save. So let's continue what Father is sharing here. So Father said, It was natural for her to be concerned for her husband's safety. But because she was the wife of a missionary, her concern should have been a higher order. Rather than pray for her husband's safety, she should have prayed that her husband could save as many lives as possible. Nothing exists for its own sake. That is not how God created the world. Man exists for the sake of woman, and woman exists for the sake of the man. Nature exists for the sake of humanity, and humanity exists for the sake of nature. All created beings in this world exist for the sake of their counterparts. It is an axiom of heaven that everything every being lives for the sake of its partner. So that's why, this wife of the missionary, father, told her that she should be more worried, about how many lives her husband can save. So again, Father is reminding us here that nothing exists for its own sake. That is not how God created the world. So man exists for the sake of woman, and then also nature exists for the sake of humanity, and humanity for nature. So Father is telling us that all created beings in this world exist for the sake of their counterparts. So as the missionary husband is in that nation, actually he's there for the sake of the people of that nation, right? So that's why as a wife, then also her mind should be the same with the husband. Because based on that big disaster that happened, this wife should also be thinking how many, lives her husband can save. So yeah, that's why this is really important for us to really understand and really live by that we are not created only for our own sake. So when you go to a mission, the subject in you are, the people in your mission area. When we are doing mission, kahit ano pa yung pinagagawa natin minsan, di ba? So the things that was given to us, that is the subject for the people, we are working with. So really living for the sake of others, how can we embody and live by in our everyday life? This is really important. And sometimes if there are, mga katulad ng nangyari na to, na unexpected, na mga biglaan, sometimes, out of our emotion, we are being carried. Out of our humanistic emotion. This is fallen human beings. Right? Very easy. Kaya nga, bakit continuous tayong in-educate ni Father? So that it will become, natural for us, maging part talaga sa atin. Yung understanding natin, hindi lang maging limited sa mind natin. But, it will come to our heart. It will become part of our body. Right? Become natural for us. Kaya nga, even though lagi nating naririnig, living for others, yung teaching ni na true parents, but how to embody this, the most difficult, like this case and situation. So because of this, out of this humanistic feeling of the wife, right? She was so worried. Ang worry na lang niya sa husband na lang niya. So already she forget what is the main purpose of her husband being in that nation, right? So that's why continuously very important talaga as fallen human beings. Hindi madali for us to, very easy to listen, but to really embody the most difficult, become part of our being. That's why living for the sake of others, if we truly understand this fully, it will become part of us and then it will become natural in our everyday life. Aju, this is really important. Why continuously True Parents is educating us. Not only to know and understand, but to be able to live by it in our everyday life. Aju, if it become natural for us, then Kingdom of Heaven will, come more, shortly. We can really build Kingdom of Heaven in shortest possible time. So Father said, to realize that we exist for the sake of others is a great achievement that changes our life. Happiness is possible only in a relationship with a partner. Imagine that some fellow who has lived his life as a singer goes to an uninhabited island and sings as loudly as possible. If there is no one there to hear him, he will not be happy. To realize that we exist for the sake of others is the great achievement that changes our lives. When we realize that our life is not ours alone, but is meant to be for the sake of the other, we begin to follow a path different from the one we were on. Just as singing to yourself will not make you happy. There's no joy without a partner. Even the smallest and most trivial thing can bring you happiness when you do it for another. This is really amazing True Parents teaching. Right? Every day, True Parents is teaching us So Father said to realize that we exist for the sake of others is a great achievement that changes our life. Really amazing. You know, people always wanted achievements, accomplishments. We want these things, right? But actually, Father's telling us here, just by realizing that we exist for the sake of others is already a great achievement that will even change our life. Haju? That's why really our life doesn't belong to us. You know, we didn't come here just, you know, for our own sake. We not even come here just for, you know, on our own, right? That's why everything doesn't belong to us, even our life. So this life that was given to us, we need to use this for others, right? To fulfill heaven's will and desire. So we are like, you know, something that like the cell phone or other things that create purposely to do specific things, right? So that's why without, you know, really knowing and understanding, you know, the purpose of life, you know, people just live meaningless life that has no meaning. If they just, that's why individualism really, this is self-destruction. So how can we help people, you know, realize? And also for us, how can not only realize, you know, but really practice and live by, you know, every day. This is really the most important, right? So Father said, happiness is possible only in a relationship with a partner. So happiness that all human beings wanted to, you know, achieve. All people are, you know, doing anything or everything for the sake of happiness. This is the main purpose of life. Kaya nga lahat ng tao pinagagawa nila, that is for the sake of happiness. They want to be happy. But, you know, living just, you know, for their own, that happiness is just temporary, right? So to really achieve the true happiness is only when we live for others. Father said here, even the smallest and most trivial thing can bring you happiness when you do it for another. That's why sa buhay po natin ngayon, living with our true mother here on earth. So we already understood very clearly our mission, our responsibility. So, you know, these things, living for others. We were really so happy and so inspired, all of us, because of our first ever family peace festival, right? You know, really amazing, really amazing. I was really moved. I think all of us were really moved, really, really grateful, right? You know, we could see, lalo na yung mga bagong members natin, you know, mga naging regular members na, naging associate members. So I think all of us now were really inspired and empowered to do HTM, to become Chonbo, you know, and then to really reach out mga members natin sa tribe natin, that one day sila naman ang lalabas next event natin sa May 30. Si mukha naman nilang makikita nila doon if they can become regular members, no? So at least maybe mag-tights na sila, mag-attend sila ng Sunday service. You know, already we can, you know, just keep them siguro continuously, then we can include na sila doon next sa May 30. Makikita na nila rin yung mukha nila doon. They will be very happy. This is really amazing actually, yung ginawa natin na family festival. No, I'm really grateful to all our leaders, kay Sir Julius, you know, having this amazing idea. You know, we follow yung sa Korea, the one that initiated by True Mother. And then our sa HTM department natin, headed by Shirley and Kuya Jimmy, and all our regional leaders and regional directors ng HTM, brothers and sisters who really work very hard. And then our staff, and then our technical also, really working so hard, really amazing. Parang talagang really brought so much inspiration sa ating lahat. Not only us, you know, even mga bagong members pa lang. And then even brothers and sisters natin from other countries. Really amazing. So we know already, you know, our responsibility that we need to do and fulfill, especially lalo na ngayon, while we are already like in the final stage of providence. So the more we have to practice in our everyday life and reaching out people, also that happiness that we have received can be shared to other people. And then the more we share, the more we become happy, right? The more we share. Kaya ito lang yung the more, you know, the more you share, the more you will going to have. Really, this is the amazing principle that true parents, our heavenly parents, has created. Aju? So let's continue to share to our own tribe, right? To our brothers and sisters around us. And then, really, we can really establish the community that Heavenly Parents is really longing for. Aju. So let's continue to really practice in our life, even just slowly every day. But for sure, we will going to advance, and then one day we can really establish the world that Heavenly Parents is really longing for. So let's really appreciate our Heavenly Parents and true parents. Let's give a big hand to our Heavenly Parents and true parents. So thank you very much to all our leaders, the center families, and brothers and sisters. May Heavenly Parents love and blessings be upon you and your family always. 감사합니다.
Wow, thank you so much. Let's give a virtual applause to our national leader for giving us a very inspiring message from our Heavenly Parent, true parents. Thank you so much. And moving on, let's now listen to the reflections of our Tongil Mudo. By the way, my dear brothers and sisters, this is the host is Tongil Mudo. Of course, I'm just representing in the interest of internet connections sa ating Tongil Mudo sa IPLC. Medyo hindi maganda yung reception sa ngayon. So I represent in behalf of Master Bernard Villagante. So the first person to reflect, to give her reflections is our Sabunim Dea Subing, the Regional Chief Instructor and Director of Tongil Mudo Region. Let's welcome our Sabunim Dea Subing. Increase your volume, parang mahina.
Good morning po.
Yeah, more.
Good morning po.
Mas okay yan. Yeah.
Then po, good morning to our Heavenly Parents and to parents, to our Sir LA, all our leaders, blessed families, brothers and sisters, good morning.
Increase pa.
Our happiness is a life lived for others. So, I know all of us here, we're all following the path of our two parents, and our two parents have shown us what kind of life we must live while we are still here on earth. And that life must be lived for the sake of others. And whatever our mission is, whether it's HTM, Tong Ilmudo, YSP, UPF, I know it is really centered on the vision of our two parents, wherein we are embracing everyone, though they are not our relatives or our own physical family, but the fulfillment that we feel whenever we are doing mission, it is really, unexplainable po yung feeling na nararamdaman natin whenever we are on the frontline mission, especially when we are hearing testimonies from our students in Tongil or in HTM that, they are happy to meet us, and it is because of Tongil Mudo, or they were able to know the purpose of their lives, and those kind of testimonies po ay yun yung nag-drive sa amin to continuously move forward. And kahit mahirap po yung mission, kasi nakakapagod naman po talaga magturo, or whatever our mission is, it is really not easy. We feel tired and, hungry, and sometimes we don't have money, but still doing those kind of things for the sake of others, we are still very happy to serve other people, because that is the life that our two parents wanted us to do. And our two parents have shown us the way, and that is why our two parents also emphasize what kind of legacy we will leave here on earth, and then once we die, we wanted other people to remember us as someone who have done something in this world. And though mahirap po talaga mag-mission, but still the happiness we are feeling kahit maraming difficulties, especially po ngayon na may pandemic, you know, may mga minsan po naiisip ko na, oh my God, wala akong ipon, hindi ako nakaka-support sa aking family, but then I still feel so blessed because despite of the situation, my physical family were still able to survive, and all of us are healthy. And I think that is uh, more than receiving money or having a lot of money or external things. That is really how our two parents show his love towards us, especially when we are doing our best in the frontline mission. Really, our two parents will always guide us. And I remember this motto, happiness is a life lived for others. This is the motto I put when I graduated in college. And actually, my classmates are asking me why I have this kind of motto in life. And I actually cannot explain it to them further, but you know, really it really makes me happy to serve and to be with my brothers and sisters because I believe that once we live for the sake of others, we are building an environment for our future generations where they can be safe and they can live happily as well. And um, also, I remember my sister told me, Ate Nina, uh, when we die, our physical family will surely miss us, will surely cry for us. But if other people cry for you when you die, that is something bigger and it is even more meaningful. That means you have changed someone's life. And it is because of our true parents' guidance. That's why even the mission of HTM is very, very important. And I know how our blessed families are investing a lot through this HTM because they also wanted to let people feel the greatness of receiving the blessing. So really my hope is to make our heavenly parents and true parents happy. And I believe I can only do that if I live my life, not for the sake of my own physical family or myself, but for the sake of others. Maybe that's all po. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Sabunim Dia, for your reflections. Bigyan naman po natin siya ng virtual applause. Thank you so much. Moving on, our next person to give his reflection, let's welcome the President of Tungludo in Asia Pacific and also the President of Tungludo in the Philippines and the Administrator of IPLC. Wow, ang daming responsibility. Our own Master Bernardino Villagante.
Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters. Marinig ba ako?
Yes, very clear, loud. You got the internet connection. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, to all my leaders and brothers and sisters, Chongyo everyone, blessed families, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. So the very wish of our beloved true mother is we really have to, her wish is when she was young, to go back to her hometown and to give love and care to her mother and father. So this is the wish also of our heavenly parents after our ancestors failed to fulfill the responsibility, the wish of our heavenly parents that all his children will go back to his home and live with him and understand the life of our heavenly parents. So as I observe this time in our young people, especially our practitioner in our Tungil Modo, many young people this time focus on individual desire, focus on making decision without consulting to their parents, to their mentors, to their coaches. That is why many life of our practitioner, or even in general young people, are in a difficult situation and live in a complicated life because of that kind of decision making in the early life. So young people, they always make like something like a laboratory. They don't consult to the experts, especially to our parents, to our mentors, to our teachers, and on what kind of life that we have to live. So it is very important that before young people make decision, they must have to go back to their parents, to their teachers, to their mentors, so that they can be guided according to the guideline that experienced by the experts. So my dear brothers and sisters, that's why in the martial arts, it's always emphasized the very core of the training is to understand the philosophical way of life, or the philosophy that influence in martial arts, so that our Tongil Modo practitioner will be guided, so that we can go back to the original status or position on how martial arts being developed. It does not develop only for development of our physical, but also for the development of our spiritual. So that is why, my dear brothers and sisters, let's live a life to live in our home, where our heavenly parents and true parents, where we can take care of our heavenly parents and love them and give and our giving and loving to others will be automatic. So that is why we really have to learn from the experts, the lessons from our parents, the lessons from our mentors, coaches, and elders, so that we can be guided on how to live for others. Because our true parents, our true father, emphasized that the secret of happiness is to live for others. And the purpose of our life is to give happiness for others. It means we are a lonely being if we will not live for others. But of course, we need to go back to our home to practice that kind of love and extend that love to others. And that is why in the early philosophy of our martial arts, according to Confucius, that we must have to give our loyalty and filial piety towards our parents, respect our brothers and sisters, and extend that love to others. And when you do that, you can have the so-called jin, or human-heartedness, because that's the way of heaven. And now our beloved true parents emphasize again to us the way of heaven. And the way of heaven is for us to live a life of experiencing a life of happiness. So that is why, my dear brothers and sisters, let's live a life of living for the sake of others. Chongyo, kamsamnida, and good morning, everyone.
Oh, thank you so much, Master Bernard Bilagante, for your reflections. Virtual applause para sa ating mga nagbigay ng reflections. Thank you so much. My dear brothers and sisters, thank you so much for really joining this morning devotions. And I hope that everybody are inspired, and especially listening to the message of our national leader, and those things that really given us really very important for us to really enrich our spirit as we move on, especially in this pandemic time. You need to really connect vertically and connect to our true parents and listen to the voice of our conscience as we always face the challenges ahead of us. So thank you so much, our national leader, for sharing God's words, and I hope that everybody are okay and ready again to move on for today's mga respective responsibilities natin. Okay? So wala po tayong, I was advised that wala po tayong final message, but unless our national leader can say a few words.
Yeah. Just thank you very much for Dr. Ganos and to all those who have shared, Sir Bernard and also Sister Dea. So thank you very much for your wonderful sharing. Yeah, just let's just remember the three mottos that Father emphasize today, that we really need to live a life of high noon without shadows cast. So this is the first thing Father emphasize, and then the second one is sorry, the echoing. And then the second one is to really live of shedding sweat for earth, tears for humanity, and blood for heaven. And then the third one is to really remember that we are one family. So I think these are three important points today that Father reminded us. Let's really do our best. So everything really begins on us, really this vertical relationship to Heavenly Parent. If we strengthen this, then we will surely, awaken and really strengthen our conscience. We can live a life without shadows, right? And then we will going to live for others as we understand, sacrifice, not only for our own self, not only for our own family, but especially we are given this great opportunity, great blessing to do something to the higher, to our community, to our nation, and to the world. This is really, amazing opportunity that was given to us. Later on, this opportunity will not going to have any more. So how lucky we are. After some time, maybe after the 7 years, after we can complete. So those other people, generations who will come, they will not, ask anymore to sacrifice like this, right? So really amazing this opportunity that was given to us. And then, since we are one family, so we have to really save and love all humanity and really bring them to Heavenly Parents' bosom so that Heavenly Parents can embrace all humanity. So our mission will end there, right? Until all human beings will be embraced, can be embraced by Heavenly Parent. So I think these three important points today, let's do our best to really practice and live in our everyday life. So I wish you once again a great day today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, our national leader, for such summing up of those important points for our life of faith. Thank you so much. So for our closing prayer, let us welcome our Sabunim from Infanta. He's the provincial instructor in Quezon Province. Sabunim Raymark Baez for the closing prayer.
Okay, brothers and sisters, please join me in prayer. Good morning to most precious Heavenly Parent and our two parents of heaven, earth, and all humankind. Heavenly Parents, once again, we are so grateful for giving this opportunity that you gather us as one family, Heavenly Parent, to receive another words of inspiration, another words of motivation from our beloved two parents, Heavenly Parent, through the voice of our beloved national leader, Sir L.A. Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, it's very clear to us, Heavenly Parent, that we are created to live for the heaven, Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, we are very thankful day by day, Heavenly Parent, that you choose us to become part of this mission, Heavenly Parent, to restore all humankind, Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, I also pray for the world, Heavenly Parent, that is still suffering for the pandemic, Heavenly Parent. For the world that you never claims as yours, Heavenly Parents, because of all the fallen person who live in this world, Heavenly Parent. We are still fallen people, Heavenly Parent. And even though we are fallen, Heavenly Parent, we promise to you that We do our best, we do our portion of responsibility, especially for this 7-year course that you give chance, Heavenly Parents, to fulfill our portion of responsibility, especially in the Philippines, to declare as one of the Chontalgok Nation, Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, let's to pray always for our beloved Mother, for her protection, for her guidance, Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, I also pray for the unity of North and South Korea, Heavenly Parent, that Father taught us as the shortcut of world peace, Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, we're so grateful for every day. We're thankful for the blessing that we receive from you, Heavenly Parent. And we feel sorry for all the sins we committed in everyday life, for the bad condition, for not doing so much for the providence, Heavenly Parent, for being responsible to our portion of responsibility, Heavenly Parent, especially for not overcoming our desires. Please forgive us. Once again, thank you so much for every day. And we are very inspired today, Heavenly Parent. We're so thankful, Heavenly Parent, that you given a chance, Heavenly Parents, to gather, even though here in online, Heavenly Parent. Once again, thank you so much for everything. And I pray this prayer to you on behalf of these brothers and sisters, in the parents' name, Aju.
Aju. Thank you so much, Sabunim Remark Vice, for your prayer. Now, thank brothers and sisters from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Thank you so much for joining these morning devotions. May God bless you, your family, and your work or mission area. Thank you so much. Meron tayong mga announcement from the headquarters.
None, sir.
Okay.
Let's have unison prayer po.
All right, so let's have a unison prayer then. So. Aju. Once again, thank you so much, my dear brothers and sisters, for attending this Hondogi from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Thank you so much. See you again.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sir Henry.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Master Bernard. Thank you so much, Kang Elmudo family. Thank you so much, our national leader. Thank you, sir. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining our morning devotion. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.